Hi, this is Dr. Teresa Dale welcoming you to Natural Health Radio. Mark Alyn and I are here to discuss so many important topics that we face today, and one of them can seem rather simple, but when you hear the devastating effect it can have on your body and the toll it can take, you're going to be pulling out your paper and making some notes. So welcome, Mark, to the show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dale.
So we're going to be talking about several things related to stress, like what is a stressor, and the different levels of stress, and what stress does to the physical, mental body.
And maybe even the soul.
Well, and the soul, but that's a wonderful topic in and of itself. And each person has a soul; they are a soul. So it depends on how you connect from that place and live your life from that place, and that can actually chime right in here because it can make life more stressful if you communicate from the soul that you are,
right,
instead of like from reading something, or if you read something, or it's difficult to it's very easy to write something from soul, but sometimes that doesn't come out the way it's supposed to come out on radio or something else because it doesn't always make sense that way.
Gotcha. I'm thinking of different kinds of stress, and I think maybe that's where we should start. Everybody has stress. Sitting on the freeway is stressful if the traffic's not moving.
Especially
right?
when somebody next to you is pointing the finger at you.
Oh,
That's
yeah, absolutely.
Very, very stressful.
Exactly. You're doing things and
right, and you try to be good on the freeway.
Yeah.
You try not to have too many flashing lights or make the wrong turn or things like that, but it can be very stressful, especially if you're late.
Yeah, I hate being late, and I tend to run late. Mm-hmm. And being on the freeway can be stressful. Another common stress would be traveling. People get stressed. They travel. Let's say they go from here to New York or Florida. Last week, during the horrible hurricane in Florida, I got an email that should have been stopped, and it was talking about win a trip to Miami for a week for two. Mm-hmm. It was poorly timed, but being away, a lot of people, men and women, mm-hmm. get constipated.
Yeah,
which is caused by
children
stress.
Too, because of the stress of their parents.
Right.
But as you mentioned, you got this email, and it's about Florida, and the weather can cause stress if you live in a place that's weather dependent. You know what I'm saying? To
Sure.
have a nice life, you don't want to have to be boarding up your house every month or a couple of times a year, really. Think about the stress that can cause some people. Other people just take it in stride, and they love living there and wherever it is, and they'll put up with it because they love it there. And that's not a stressor, but it just depends. So even doing radio could be a stressor.
I know a lot of people, if they're on radio or TV, they clam up, mm-hmm. or I call it self-edit. They
monitor themselves.
They monitor themselves constantly, and so everything comes out flat.
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, I don't do that.
No, you do not. You do not. But do you get uptight if you're traveling? Or
I first of all, I feel the most relaxed when I feel very relaxed on radio. Not as much on TV because everybody's worried about your hair and stuff. But when I travel, I'm only stressed on when I am on the line where they're going to possibly make you go through the X-ray, the security thing, and I always opt out of that. And so just before I communicate with the person to tell them I'm not doing it, I get a little stressful, and because I don't know how many people have said it to that person a day. So I sometimes that waiting in line there in the security line, I can be a little stressed out. But once I get to the gate, just sit down, relax.
I agree.
Until I get on the plane, and then it depends who I sit next to and if there's somebody pounding on my back on the
Some
chair,
kid going,
right,
hate
like
that.
that. But I mean, the traveling, I think, is a stressful thing if you allow it to be and start thinking of negatives, like could there be a terrorist on this flight, or some people will not fly anymore.
Right.
But you've got to really know that life is there to live, and that we can't let people and other things stop us from doing things that we're supposed to do, that we want to do. For example, do you remember many years ago,
I don't remember many
1984, 85, 86, something like that.
Right.
There was the emergency in South Africa, where there was the Soweto was happening, okay, and so nobody wanted to go there, and the rand dropped 40%. Well, I thought that was great, that I was going to, every airline ticket was like discounted, and I said, I love the people there. I'm going to go. And I went by myself, had a great time. I brought my camera, and I walked down the center street in
Cape
Johannesburg.
Town? Oh, Johannesburg. Okay.
And there was a beautiful. It's kind of a hill on a mountain, but not a mountain. It was going kind of a sloped city street, and I could see a long distance that there were it was just very peaceful, beautiful, and I felt there was safer there than I did in LA. And I noticed that the doors to the restaurants, one would say for colored people only. And
you were there before apartheid.
Oh, yeah, I was there. And I was there intentionally to go to study homeopathy at a little seminar there. I had a friend there, and while I was there, I visited a witch doctor's place to see what they do. And he had a PhD in witch doctory, right? And so that was fun. And then I visited all these different stores, and all the white people would say you shouldn't be going out by yourself. And I thought, this is nonsense. These people are awesome. I was treated so well, and the Four Seasons had a 40% discount on their room rate. So I was treated well, and I had a lot of fun and learned a lot.
I had a lot of fun in Cape Town.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, Cape Town was really great. And I didn't feel stressed except for the 20-hour flight. That's what always kills me. I mean, because you can't do anything. I mean, I would walk up and down the aisles. I would do a little bit of exercise. And that's a long flight.
It's a very long flight. Well, I was going from Portugal to South Africa and to Johannesburg. And so it wasn't as long as going from California or, from New York or whatever,
Right.
wherever you went from. But I think that stress comes in different packages, and it depends on our makeup as to how we experience that, how we experience events. Right?
Right.
If we're raised to be fearful about things, we can either change that or we can live with that. So how were you raised? Were you raised in a fearful...
I don't think so. I had a pretty good childhood. I don't remember being taught fear. I learned it.
Right, it's a learned behavior.
It is a learned behavior. But, and there are certain things that stress you out, that stress me out, but we all handle it differently. Mm-hmm. Okay? I know somebody who can be relaxed, at least outwardly, under almost any circumstance. And then I see other people who, on the littlest thing, get very uptight. Mm-hmm. So it's actually... even though the stress may be the same, we all handle it differently.
We do, and I think that we're talking about all the different kinds of stress, whether you're traveling in different situations, even if you go in, and maybe especially as if you go to a family gathering, and if there are some people there that you've had issues with in the past, I mean, that could be stressful. So anything in your life you can experience stress from most anything depending upon how you experience life in general. Do you experience life in general as open and loving and accepting and non-judgmental, or do you experience in life like, okay, somebody's out to get me, I have to watch this person or that person, or you know what I'm saying? So we need to look at how we're projecting ourselves, and also without monitoring it, but just feeling how we project out, and how also we can be around people that are very negative that can cause us stress, and how we take that in and make that ours. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't like living in a paranoid world where you have to check everything. I just don't. I think that's my personality. But I know people who are more cautious, perhaps, than I am. On one of my first trips to New York for business in the late 70s, I was, first of all, I was wearing my father-in-law's overcoat. And I looked like I was a street urchin. And walking down the street, and I'm not used to walking on ice because I'm a Southern Californian. And the streets were very icy and slippery, and I was walking near a parking lot. I was on Broadway. I was going to a radio station. I had a job interview. And big radio station, Daryl, you would have loved it. Anyway, I didn't get the gig, but walking, I slipped. I fell right down on my back. And 3 men came over to me, and I was told, you don't talk to anybody in New York, people won't help you. And I'm struggling to get up. And these guys lifted me up, offered me coffee, gave me back my briefcase, and I've not felt fear in New York since that time. And because I was told, you have to be very careful of everybody.
Right. Yeah, I know it's, and I used to live in Manhattan. I used to walk to Harlem, back in the late 70s, right? And with friends to hear music. So, no matter, you have to look at how you were raised, but at some point you need to decide, is this healthy for you? Is this stressful for you? What do you need to do? How do you need to change in order to have a life that can be very calm, peaceful? I think replacing stress with peace. It's a really good replacement, so feeling peaceful.
Stress, we've been talking about different kinds of stress, but it does affect our bodies.
It affects our bodies, and stress generally, no matter what kind of stress it is, will affect the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are connected to the thyroid in the 5-element theory of Chinese medicine. So they're on the same axis, which is AXIS. Okay?
Right.
So they're on the same axis. So when your adrenals are stressed out, your thyroid can be stressed out, and vice versa. So the adrenal glands are hit at first the hardest, and that would be with anxiety, paranoia, and confusion. All of that can affect the adrenal glands and the thyroid, both. So we have to look, if we have a thyroid problem or an adrenal problem or a stress problem, do we have any of those emotions going on in our life? Do we have any of those things? And if we do, then we need to go to wellnesscenter.net and look those the organs up and the glands up, adrenal and thyroid, and then you will see some things, educational information as well as products that can help you. Stress is huge. Stress will affect the adrenal glands so that they don't make proper amounts of hormones anymore. Yes, you've heard me correct. not only do your ovaries and your hypothalamus pituitary and all of these things, these endocrine system, connect the production of hormones. They connect with the adrenal glands, the hypothalamus pituitary and adrenal axis.
Right.
Okay? So your adrenal glands also make testosterone, cortisol, DHEA, progesterone, everything. Your adrenal glands, it's like a backup for the human body for hormones. So if you're nice to your adrenal glands, then your adrenal glands will continue to make hormones for you, even if you've had a complete hysterectomy. And even as you get older, you want your hormones to be as balanced as possible. Well, if you want that, you have to handle the stress, and you have to be kind to your adrenal glands. Foods stress us out, like caffeine.
Okay.
Major stress for our adrenal glands. Talk about exhausting them, dehydrating them. So caffeine is not good. And the other thing that can be stressful is junk food and sodas also have caffeine. Certain sodas will have it. But they're,
What about organic sodas?
That's a good question. There is a company that makes organic, 0 calories, zero sugar soda. They have stevia in it.
Right.
And it's in a glass bottle. You can find it in health food stores. Try to get things from glass bottle, not aluminum cans. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
what about, I don't like stevia. I can almost always taste it.
Oh yeah, it has a little bitter aftertaste to it.
And but
they don't make sodas that I have seen yet with coconut sugar or with something else. If it had coconut sugar or a little bit of xylitol, that would be, that's from birch trees. If it were real xylitol, not synthetic, it would be from birch trees.
Cane sugar?
Evaporated cane sugar is overused today. It still is sugar, even though it's organic evaporated cane sugar. We can have too much of that. The more natural would be the coconut sugar. You can put that in making wonderful baked goods. You don't even have to use grains. You can use almond flour, and you can use coconut sugar. There's so many different things you can use, but stevia does have a little bite to it, doesn't it?
It does, I know that, I think it was last year that they came out with a less bite stevia, but it's still not quite right. I don't know why. It's sweeter than sugar too.
I think chicory syrup is a very good thing too. Chicory syrup is from chicory root, and it's sweet.
Oh wow! And I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think that the reality is looking at all the things you can do in your life and what is going to take you out of stress. What would you need to do to get out of stress? And maybe that's quitting a job. Maybe that's not ending a relationship, but putting it into a different perspective, and maybe changing it to a different type of relationship. Relationships can be stressful.
Can you imagine the stress caused by technology in relationships? And what I mean by that is, dear Mark, we're not going out anymore.
Right.
Because people are doing that. They're dropping their relationships via text.
Right. And especially when a person isn't expecting anything. I think in a relationship, like a personal relationship, especially, or people get used to the emails and things. I get thousands of them a day, but I always welcome the phone calls, because I welcome the phone calls, and so I actually am starting a new relationship with a web person, and she doesn't want to communicate via email, just maybe to back things up in what you say. And I love that. I love the ability to be able to talk with somebody on the phone.
No, I absolutely.
It's less stressful that way, because you have to wonder, did the person understand it differently than I meant it, which is always in emails.
And so if you want, you can call, as a matter of fact, to find out about stress-related homeopathic remedies. 800-219-1261. That's 800-219-1261. I'll do that again. 800-219-1261. That's the phone number to order and find out information about the Wellness Center for Research and Education and their wonderful products that Dr. Dale has developed, including the stress-relieving products for your adrenals. I'm curious, are there any products like a Kava Kava?
Yeah, well, the other thing is, if a person doesn't want to call, they can go to the wellnesscenter.net, click on order here, and they'll see a list. They'll see a listing, adrenal stress, on the left side, and you can read all about all the things there. Now, Kava Kava, they've had some research related to the liver toxicity with Kava Kava, and I don't recommend that for stress. If there's even a small possibility that it can be negative for any of our organs and for our body in any way, I will just nix that.
Got it.
So I don't recommend that, but I do recommend homeopathic remedies that are phenomenal for stress, and you feel the difference immediately. So that means when you take it, within a few seconds, you can feel the difference. That's what people want. They want immediate, safe, non-toxic relief.
And what would that be? What, do you have a product?
Well, I have many homeopathic remedies that would help, but one that I love is called Neuroemotional Remedy number 11, and that's for the thyroid and adrenal balance, and that has chamomile, homeopathic chamomile in it. Powerful. It has a number of other homeopathic remedies in it, like homeopathic remedy for balancing cortisol, a homeopathic remedy for balancing DHEA. So if I gave you the Latin names of all of the things, it wouldn't mean anything. But
it would confuse me.
If I tell you what it was for, so there's homeopathic remedies to balance the adrenal glands and keep the thyroid and the adrenal and the hypothalamus talking to one another.
And with the instant relief of stress, do you need to take that on a regular basis to?
Well, I don't recommend any homeopathic remedy on a regular basis. I feel that you need to take it. You need to actually try to feel stress, and then take 5 drops and see if you can hold on to the stressful feelings. And you should feel like, boy, I can hardly even feel that now. I can't even try to feel that now. So you want to do, if you're under intense stress, you could do 5 drops of the homeopathic remedy 3 to 4 times a day between meals. And then the next day, maybe only twice a day. And then the next day, if you still feel that, then maybe do it twice a day or once a day until a couple of weeks you're off of it. And that means that you would be handling stress a lot better. Don't forget, homeopathy works on the mind, your emotions, and also your physical. So it physically helps the adrenal glands and the thyroid to balance.
So if your adrenal glands and thyroid are overstressed, would your fight or flight mechanism be compromised?
Yes, it would. You might be either fighting all the time, or
never,
or flighting all the or get me out of here all the time. So it could be that your normal response, fight or flight, is exaggerated in one of those ways. In other words, I see it all the time where you just get so stressed out, you just say, get me out of here. I don't want to talk. I want to get away from this. I want to do this. Or you could get fighting mad and fight with everybody you see. And I've seen that with so many patients. And I look for those things like, how are they acting different than they normally would say that they're behaving? So adrenals are, remember, paranoia, confusion, and anxiety. Anxiety is stress. Paranoia is stress, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I never
major
looked
stress.
Of course. Yeah. You're always looking over your shoulder. You're worried that somebody's going to rip you off or hurt you physically.
Right. Or paranoid about, it could be anything. Breaking your heart. It could be paranoid in a relationship, paranoid in, you're going to overdo, you're going to overeat when you've had about 2 inches worth of something, like a small amount, tiny amount of something, but yet paranoid that if you're going to get fat from eating a tiny amount.
And we all have to eat. Do people
I love to eat. Eating is important.
Eating is important. We've eaten many times together. Mm-hmm. And thinking about food and thinking about what you should eat, is that stressful?
I think constantly worrying about, people do that to worry, or sometimes, it's unfortunate that I have to say this, but sometimes people have gotten so into a way of eating, whether it's vegan or paleo or vegetarian or junk food or whatever it is, generally doesn't happen with junk food, but eating cleaner or differently, they can actually, I've heard people say, I don't want to date a person who isn't eating vegetarian. So that is a stressor that you're putting on yourself. So there's a big judgment that comes in here when you remember that you're choosing to eat a certain way, but you don't have to make everybody else eat that way, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that causes bad relationships, in my opinion. I've seen it over and over again.
We're having a little get-together in a few weeks with a number of people that are coming in for an event.
Oh.
And it's just a small group of people, and the stress to accommodate 8 or 10 people's dietary needs is stressful. But
well, you can just order pizza.
No, you can't.
I know, I'm just kidding.
I know. That's what I would do. Cheeseless pizza, maybe. And then somebody will have a gluten, so it's got to be gluten-free crust. I mean, it can be. I'm glad I'm not in charge.
Well, that's the thing. It's people want to eat what they want to eat, but you don't have to judge someone else. And I have seen people in relationships, married, who have had problems with their spouse because they won't change the way that they're eating. And they're healthy. It's not like if you won't change the way you're eating and you're unhealthy, that's one thing. But if you won't change the way you're eating and you're healthy, and it hasn't gotten to you yet, you know.
Well, I know that when my father and mother got married, my father had never ever eaten Chinese food, and I don't think my father-in-law had either. And both wives wanted to try Chinese food, and at that time it was mostly Cantonese food.
Oh yeah.
But as soon as they tried it, they liked it. But it took a while to convince them to try that.
Right. I think that the stressor can come from someone that you are with, or someone in your environment, or politics, or whatever it is, that someone wants you to be a certain way that you don't want to be.
Right.
That's a huge stressor. Now that stress, any kind of a stress, not only affects the adrenal glands, but affects the liver. Anger can be with stress. You can have stress and anger. You can have stress and fear. Fear is kidneys.
And what about blood pressure? Does that, if stress has got
Absolutely.
to zoom it up?
Good point. And Yeah, so
That's why I get the big bucks.
is that why you get the big
That's-
bucks?
yeah.
As a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely affects blood pressure, and it can do many things. It can as well block the circulation to your body. Stress is like being stuck, you know.
Right.
It's being stuck in a stressful, just a stressful energy that you have where everything is stressful.
This is Natural Health Radio. Dr. Teresa Dale. I'm Mark Alyn, and our twiddler, of course, is the insane Daryl Wayne, and we appreciate him and everything he does for
Absolutely.
us. And we're talking about stress today. Have we
We need to talk about relieving stress.
that's why you get the big bucks.
Yeah. We need to talk about relieving stress, and one of the things that you can do is to take your ears
Right.
and the edge of your ears and just to massage all the points in there.
Oh, would I love to do that?
And just all the points in there completely relaxes your body. Why? Because there is an acupuncture point to many areas of your body throughout your ear. It's called the auricle. So it's auricular therapy, and you just massage it. Like
It's
that.
why a lot of massage therapists end a massage by rubbing your
Rubbing
ears.
your ears. And it's so you can do that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then you also can just do meditation, and I do TM because it's very easy to do for everybody. And pick a type of meditation, learn it, and do it every day. Just make sure it's easy for you. It shouldn't be a struggle. You shouldn't have stress trying to meditate.
No, you shouldn't. And a lot of people do.
They do.
We just talked to Swami, he's also known as the Orange Cowboy, who is teaching a 1 minute or less meditation,
Nice.
which is a great way of I mean, that appeals to me because of time elements of everything that, is going on in my life.
How much does he charge for that?
I do not know.
Well, it's so interesting because it should work. I mean, what I can tell you for myself is I've tried Buddhist chanting for years, 20 years, trying different types of meditation. And the only one that the first time I ever learned it, for the very first time, within 1 second, it starts and it goes. It's on automatic. And that's the TM. It's like, and there's scientific research behind why it works. And Maharishi was a physicist, so he created it from that perspective. So, but there's many, it just should work right away. There shouldn't be any effort in doing it.
Yeah, and that's what he teaches. He's the most relaxed guy I've ever met. Really, he's a very, very nice. Yeah.
That kind of relax?
Well, no, not that kind of relaxed. At least I hope not. Do you want to talk about your upcoming events?
I want to talk about my events, and one is I'd say, I have a number of webinars coming up, and I've been really busy trying to find the right webinar company. I found one, and we are doing a lot of webinars for our doctors. We're going to be doing Facebook Live, and we're going to be doing that as well. We also have for everyone, October 21st, put it on your calendar because we will meet in Costa Mesa, California. It's at the Crowne Plaza Hotel. It's a free product training. We're going to be talking about helping yourself, helping your body, also about helping other people. And if you have ever felt inclined to help other people in the healing profession, we are going to be telling you about becoming a pro wellness coach, and that's October 21st. It's only one day on
Wow.
Saturday.
And how long is it? All day?
It's all day,
Like 9
one
to 5?
day. Yeah, all your questions will be answered, and you can bring me as many questions as you can find, and I'm happy to answer them. So We will be having a very good crowd there, and come early, and it's free, but you have to register for it. wellnesscenter.net/events.
So that's wellnesscenter.net/events. And you can register for free for that event October 23rd.
I want to meet all of our listeners. I want to meet people who are looking for help, and some people who have been helped, of course. And if you're ready to take the next step and look at another level or a layer of stuff to get rid of, or detoxification, or if you want to learn how to create a healthy body from where you are right now, from that perspective, all the things you need to do to take it to a really positive place. That's the way I teach. No sense in teaching negatives.
No,
they don't
exactly.
work.
No. So it's a positive approach to healing and to healthcare.
Everybody should feel better by the time they leave. That's what I say.
And what about prevention?
Well, prevention is, prevention can be paranoid.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you can be paranoid about, preventing things from happening to you, like they happened to your grandfather, father, getting a disease, and just really, really being paranoid about you're having
cancer,
that too. Or,
like I'm going to get cancer.
So
Okay.
you approach prevention from that place, and that's okay. Just realize that you've got to get rid of that that paranoia. The paranoia, you can get rid of that and also change your life and change your diet and do things different from your ancestors in your,
And that
whatever
makes
your
sense.
genetics. Yeah. So you do the right thing, but you also get rid of the paranoia. Some people, they do the right thing and they're still paranoid. Okay, well, last night, Dr. Dale, I ate the wrong kind of celery. I ate out and I wasn't sure that celery was organic. To me, it's a little bit too paranoid, right? It's a little paranoia there.
If you're out and you go to a friend's house, and they have celery out, do you just eat it?
Yeah, I bless it and eat it.
Got it.
Everybody can bless it. You don't need me to bless it. You can bless,
it
yourself.
You are a minister too. Aren't
I
you?
am.
You are. But if you can bless it, even though it may or may not be organic, is what I'm saying. I mean, one piece of non-organic celery is not going to hurt
so if you have
somebody.
a meal at a friend's house, it's prepared with love, and you're hungry and you're there and it's all good food, don't even think about it. Just eat.
Yeah, we have a friend who won't eat. I guess we just go on, right?
You do what?
Daryl and I have a friend who won't eat with us.
Because?
His diet is so
rigid.
It's regimented, and he said that if he went with us anywhere, he would embarrass us with the line of questioning that would go on before he would eat something in public.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a lot. Some people are like that, and it's good to always ask questions if you know that you're highly allergic to strawberries or nuts.
Right.
Make
Well,
sure
it's
they're
got
not in
nothing
the
to do
food.
with
It has nothing to do
No.
with allergies.
No.
Okay, so then that person has probably a personality issue with.
I would say that.
Yeah.
And I'm not a professional.
No,
so.
I am, and I will
Yeah.
tell you that sounds like, because I know other people, many people like that,
Right.
who are. Sometimes when they go out with me, they want to impress me, believe it or not. Why, I don't know. But they start asking all these questions, and I feel so sorry for the waiter. And okay, let's make it easy for you. I want the pasta, I want the this, and I want that.
And once in a while.
Yeah, once in a while.
Bring me the potatoes still in the bag.
Yeah.
I'll just eat them out of the bag.
Yeah, exactly. The fried or raw?
No, in the sack they came in.
In the sack, yes.
He wants the most natural way you can do it. So here's the thing. Eat at healthy places, but once you're in there, or even if you're stuck. I remember one time I was stuck downtown. I was starved. I didn't eat in 6 hours, 7 hours. I had nothing all day, and there was a Denny's. So I went into the Denny's, and I said to the woman, I said, I've never eaten here. and I have a sensitivity to certain kinds of oils, and I don't eat meat here. And she said, oh, well, you know, honey, just let me make you a vegetarian stir fry and we'll use olive oil. Would that be okay? And I said,
Wow.
that would be great. They actually did that without any fuss. There was no fuss.
I'm impressed.
Or she said we could make it without oil. We'll just stir fry it. So without it. So, and I didn't go into a big thing. And I think that going into a restaurant positive that you're going to get what you need is wonderful.
We've eaten, let's see, you and I have eaten Thai.
We've eaten Thai. That was good.
That was very good. And we've eaten a lot at an organic health food store
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And we found things that you like that I don't, and vice versa.
Right.
Right?
So I will eat at a Thai restaurant. It's not organic, but it doesn't have MSG, and it's like rice noodles and vegetables, and you know, it's just perfect.
Right. You just don't have to do it every time.
No.
Right?
So, you know, in life you have to make choices, and by being overly paranoid about what you're going to eat and what you're going to do, and that is stress on your body, and you're actually hurting yourself by doing that. So, and I'm not talking about going for a Carl's Jr. or
Right.
any of these other places, because that is just, I've never eaten at
A Carl's?
or any of them,
Well,
or a Kentucky Fried thingy
no,
either.
I've never eaten. I've eaten have I eaten at I don't like fried chicken. I don't care if it's organic or not. I just don't like fried chicken. I don't like fried foods. I never have. It used to drive my mother nuts. I would pull the skin and off, all that fried off, and eat the chicken. And she just it was upsetting to her. And I just don't like fried foods. I don't like fried potato.
Well, then you don't have to
pancakes.
eat no fried foods for this guy over
No,
here.
I generally don't like them. Every now and then somebody will serve you something and you have to eat it. You taste it, you know, and I'll do that. But it's not my choice of foods. Right?
I enjoy eating at health food restaurants that have a little, a health food store that has a restaurant, or, you know, there's a great place in the valley.
Follow your heart. Follow your
I was
heart.
there 2 weeks ago. Not even 2 weeks ago.
Wow, didn't call me.
No,
It's
I
okay,
think about going there all the time, because when I go there, I eat well, it's healthy, I enjoy the food, it's yummy.
I grew up in that neighborhood.
I think they've been in business for like 50 years.
50 years, yeah. Yeah.
And they're still doing it and making those vegetarian Reuben sandwiches. Have you ever had one of those there?
Gee, that sounds good.
Oh, it's so...
Sounds good right now.
I dream about it. And it's all vegetarian. And it's on the best homemade rye bread, you know, and I know rye has gluten in it. We're not talking about anybody's paranoia about food right now, but we're talking about, this is a non-stressor meal for me.
Right. And it's
And they have kale salads and
I had
and
a
smoothies.
kale Caesar salad at the Daily Grill.
Oh, good. Oh, I know where that is, at Burbank Airport.
There's one there, and this was at LAX, and it was very good. And the problem with kale that I find is that it can be so tough. But this
Very
was
tough.
not.
Well, sometimes people, when they eat kale, they just steam it a little bit for 2 minutes before you put it in the dish, and it softens it up. So I think that we are talking here and having a good time talking about stress. We know that food can be a stressor, but your attitude about food can be even a bigger stressor. Making other people in your family eat the same way you do is a stressor for them, unless you come to an agreement where it's not going to be a stressor, where they actually enjoy the food. So stress affects body, mind, it affects the brain, and it actually causes the memory. It affects memory.
The stress
Stress.
does. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can see that.
Some people turn off their memory if they don't want to think about things. They just turn it off. All of a sudden, they can't remember this. They have too much stress. and people just shut down. We have to keep people active and healthy and
Yep.
close enough to the microphone to not give the engineer the master twiddler stress. We don't
Yes.
want this guy stressing out.
No,
right?
we don't.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Right.
We've got, holiday times coming up. Mm-hmm. And that's a stress. Holidays, getting together with family is stressful, things like that. But I was thinking about food at the holidays, and the first holiday that I can think of would be Halloween. I remember getting apples, going trick-or-treating as a kid, but my mother would take them and throw them away because we were afraid, because every year you hear about somebody putting double-sided razor blades into the apples, which is a terrible thing to do. So you can't eat that. Or she would find baked goods, that somebody gave instead of a candy bar, and she'd say, "No, you can't eat that. You can eat the candy bar."
Mm-hmm. You have to get something wrapped up.
Yeah.
Eat something healthy wrapped up, whether they're peanuts that are organic or almonds or Kind bars or anything that you can, find to give away. But food is a big thing, and so you're getting together for a holiday, and they're going to have turkey or ham or something like this, right?
Yeah.
As well as veggies. So you just make choices. You make choices based on health.
You probably eat a lot of sweet potatoes or yams.
I like sweet potatoes and I like yams. For holidays, I will eat an organic turkey. I don't eat meat in any place ever. The only thing I don't do is I never eat meat unless it's organic.
Got it.
And it's just that one thing, because I know the toxins that are in it, and I know that it's really not good for me. But I don't eat sugar like cakes and things like that either that are, so there's certain things when you have a family extravaganza holiday, you can get organic cherry pie. You can make it. You can buy it. Pumpkin pie. You can get whipped cream that is made from coconut that they sell in the health food store in the freezer section. You can get things that taste awesome, but are not, they taste maybe better. Okay, and you can get organic turkey.
Yeah, organic turkey is good.
Delicious.
You know what? I'm trying to think. At the Natural Products Expo West last year and the year before, I think one of the newest designations was organic, gluten-free, kosher, and there was another one. I can't remember what the other one was, but I just thought
Paleo?
Maybe. I mean, it was just all these different things certified on this.
Well,
whatever it was.
It's great that we have choices of what we're going to eat. We now have more choices, so this should give us less stress, not more stress. And so we need to look at what we're doing and enjoying and be totally at peace with our decisions so that our decisions are right decisions, right?
Right.
Well, I want to thank everyone for being with me, and check out our website at wellnesscenter.net and also the California College of Natural Medicine, and that is at www.cconm.com. We are having a training in person, which is October 14th and 15th in Irvine, California, and that is for health providers only. Stay tuned. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for the great questions.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Bye-bye for now.